Wait a minute. I said, wait a minute. Wait, we gotta make sure the sound. You know what I'm saying? The sound is okay. I'm gonna make sure the sound is okay. Man, why is they giving me surveys man? Don't give me no survey. Oh, dang, first survey. What is this? YouTube changed on some ad types. Man, YouTube changed. I'm just saying. Damn. So where'd you find that shit?
Yeah, like boss.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ohio star player Kukuski, get ready. Y'all about to see thousands of videos everywhere.
You know, common sense ain't common. One thing you can't do is just dismiss my knowledge. Common sense ain't common. Common sense ain't common. Who make the decisions in your life? Yeah. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. Common sense ain't common. No common sense. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. Bitch, I am not pilot in the air I be. Bitch, I was not fire for the kerosene. You was watching Pirates of the Caribbean. You was just a liar and a careless being. I'ma take that fucking never stretch it. Yeah, gotta do with facts, I learned my lesson. You know what I mean? Baby, take that voodoo off of me. I don't wanna lose you in the streets. Cruising in the Jeep. Baby, got that Julie in the seat. For anybody, she can have it cheap. Yeah, look, homie, the gods ain't shit like a bitch just farted. Always make mistakes because you just retarded. You don't ever finish what you bitches started. Please don't make me finish if I didn't start it. Never went to college, I'm a different scholar. You ain't got no common sense, cause common sense ain't common. One thing you can't do is just dismiss my knowledge. Common sense ain't common. Common sense ain't common. Who made the decisions in your life? Yeah. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. Common sense ain't common. No common sense. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. In that corporate world, you are just a course astrology. Check your posts, I bet you got no correspondence. You just want that business and that corporate sponsor. Till you got a life you can't afford no longer. I know you got some kids, is that your boy or daughter?
See, that's what substance sound like. I think you rappers lost it. I think y'all about to get ready to rap about it. I went at the club and I shot my Rams, and then I popped 100 pills. Now I'm higher than New York City Timbs. Wait a minute. I'm the only one fought at the Timbs. I'm the only one fought at the Timbs.
In that corporate world, you are just a course astrology. Check your posts, I bet you got no correspondence. You just want that business and that corporate sponsor. Till you got a life you can't afford no longer. I know you got some kids, is that your boy or daughter? Got you just now trying to realize life is more than violence. You got more than problems, need a solution, right? When you was born, you should have known you had a stupid life. Did you start thinking about the things you wasn't doing right? You in the kitchen might start thinking you should use a knife. Yeah, you was the one I was lost in the sauce and you suicidal. Do you wanna die? This ain't doing that though. If you right before you knew Chicago, only your way before you knew Ohio. Just keep feeling happy, bitch. Versus the bring you know arrivals. You got a lot more to worry about. Soon as I get in, I'ma hurry about. It don't matter what degree you have or that bullshit you be learning about. One thing you can't do is just dismiss my knowledge. Common sense ain't common. Common sense ain't common. Who make the decisions in your life? Yeah. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. Common sense ain't common. No common sense. I will never fuck with you. Yeah. Do you wanna ride? Yeah. When it's parked outside. Do you wanna ride? Yeah. All the time.
And that's what we need in today's time. Substance, good food for thought. We gonna get deep. Because people from the hood everywhere and things of that nature, even the reservations, people in the hood, the urban communities and stuff like that. And I hope it trickle down to the suburb communities so they don't end up church shooters and school shooters and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get deep into mental health. Y'all know I'm an Aries, though. I start with the first. So whatever you think you're doing comes second. We look at what was the first thing, the intent, and that can only go two routes if it's genuine or disingenuous and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we either stay for the plot or we don't, or we hang you from a rope, or we let God deal with you. However the case may be, that's the Aries standpoint. You got to understand that first. You know what I'm saying? We look at first. So a lot of times, y'all be listening to other astrologers and stuff. They don't even know what they talking about. Yeah, you gotta listen to an Aries. They don't know talk about people actions and stuff like that. It ain't about taking actions. It's about seeing actions. We see actions. You know what I'm saying? We see actions and try to see where these type of actions is coming from. You know what I'm saying? So whether we create an action just for it, we create a feeling or an expression just for it, or we just separate from it, whatever. We're never none of these things, though. That's what people get messed up. Like Aries take action. No, Aries peep actions. They're not allow us to take action. You know what I'm saying? That we might take action before you can even think we taking action, and you didn't even know we 10 steps ahead because we already peeped the manuscript. And that's what we're talking about right now. Right? But we're gonna break down the energies for the first part. And we're gonna break down all zodiacs. So everybody got gifts and talents. You better believe it. You better believe I'm gonna show you your gifts. Y'all say, better believe I'm gonna show you your talents and stuff like. But first and foremost, all the energies we all going through right now for the seeing me. You know what I'm saying? Then got the goddamn Taurus Beaver man, a Beaver woman, or whatever. Go back in the Groundhog Day or whatever time. You get stable. Don't be afraid of the light and go back in the shadow because you're scared to put in a little bit of work because you're in a comfort zone. And that's what that means. You might get lost in groundhogs and stuff like that, but if you know how to pull out the essence, which I'm gonna teach y'all to rise y'all mind a little bit once we get into the mental health and understanding how to go to the esoteric hospitals and stuff like that, so y'all can clear y'all souls out and stuff like that. There's things you can see in nature that goes beyond the physical representation, but the essence springed off it to go in that direction. And a lot of times when we talk about mental direction, that's dealing with, thought and feeling. I already expressed that to y'all, and I don't even think I even, but I already expressed that to y'all, how to kind of fly around or move around in the spiritual world. And it's based upon being emotionally intelligent. So for the most part, you're moving too much to the right when you connect into things. You're moving too much to the left when you start to separate from things. But on a positive scale, moving to the left means isolation or separating yourself from something. And you should do that when it's a mechanism. Do it for positive natures. There's a negative and a positive way when you're connecting to things. You may be connecting to things that's for you or connecting to things that's not going in your direction. That'd be being too righteous. You could be too righteous for the wrong cause and be guilty by association when it play out physically, or in the spiritual world is already doing that when you do wrap yourself around your first body, your mind. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you're already doing that. To move forward is to persevere. To move up is to have optimism. To move down is to be depressed, but not as it play out based upon not it being in y'all favors when it comes to the physical world. In the spiritual world, ain't no right or wrong, and you're not seeing it yet unless you direct it towards an energy or a bias. But being depressed is just a compression. You formulating or trying to construct multiple thoughts that you have condensed in from the forward, up, and left. So it went to the down, right, and back. And once it went down, for the most part, that's when a lot of these compressed like wintertime. So it condensed. And then you can orchestrate it, figure out how to move it, figure out this one need to be planted, give birth, grow more. This one needs to be separated. And this is where you in your own mind and all your own, you ain't got time to be dealing with nobody else's thoughts and feelings. You in your own body, your own thoughts and feelings at that moment. And you know how to calculate, you know what I'm saying? Strategic things that need to be separated from the death portion, things that need to be rebirthed, things that need to be reignite, things that need to be gave a little bit more life to that you probably put in the back seat a little bit previously. All of that go into that area before it play out and filter through a lot of y'all negative biases because you lost into the flesh. And then for the most part, it become something like an ego. Something that, you know what I'm saying, something degenerate, something that you become depressed about because you didn't have it. But in the spiritual world, you already had that on your mind. The thought, it condensed as a bunch of thoughts in that area. Now you inside of that womb, that mind state, that feeling, and then that's your emotion, and that emotion is direct your emotion, your adrenaline, to go in that direction or whatever the case may be. Now, when you can't get where you directed that energy towards being a Harry Potter or Mrs. Harry Potter, I want them new Jordans. I want them. You should be trying to get these. I'll tell you that right now. Should be trying to get these, or I'm saying, or whatever. But y'all trying to get those new Jordans or whatever. You'll get the little polo. You know? I say you should be trying to get those and stuff, but I want those. That's the only time it play out from those compression of all those thoughts and feelings, and now you direct it in the third dimension, but in the wrong area, something you expected, and now you can't get it. Now it plays out as depressed. So you depressed under all your compressions in the spiritual world. So these things be playing out in the same context, just different terminology and formations and stuff. But you gotta know you're going through the same thing. You're going through a spiritual layer of it, a mental layer of it, and a physical layer of it. The spirit is your space. You have an individual spirit, that's your soul. Spirit just means multiple. We all got a space. And soul just means your solo spirit, your solo space, your soul. Then we all got a time, aka a mind state. Then we all got a body, aka matter. So we all got space, time, and matter. You know what I'm saying? Spirit, mind, and body. So there's a way how it happened when you initiate it, spirit. Then there's a way how to understand it once you're in it. Once you condensed inside of that mental form, your time, that time before it expires, and you can add on more to those bubbles. And then there's a time it becomes matter, your organs and stuff like that. Some of y'all brains that a lot of y'all was forgot to be born with and stuff like that. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it 100. A lot of y'all was forgotten. Y'all missing parts of the heart murmurs and stuff like that, brain murmurs. It's like missing certain parts. You just got the parts that other retards was born with that didn't think the other parts even was a necessity or even was needed. So you like think you just well functioning because you just got all the necessary parts. There's not as other parts to the brain that everybody will be born with. Oh, it says other parts of like the heart, lungs, kidneys that a lot of people don't be born. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just be born in a world full like some other cats. They come in and they be like, oh, I'm already. They be a little retarded too though, but they be like, but yeah, just life. So they just think everything going on already is normal. Straight up missing brain parts. Oh, it says straight up missing lung, heart, thyroid parts. It get deep. It get deep. But like I said, the mood is at Leo right now. So this is making everybody react or respond to what stage that they setting to be the cause and effect of. So that could be anything. People always think, y'all get lost into the physical representations of what these words and who slap meanings on them could get you in the physical world and what Walt Disney taught us. So you'll be thinking about attention and Leo and not understanding it from an Aries perspective. No, what do attention come from first? Attention come from a person that might need some gratification externally, whether it's negative or positive, or something that could be emanated like a idea or something like that, and the attention span could be focused on it, or whatever the case may be. So for the most part, that's wanting to be seen or known for what was created in the mind, or wanting to be seen and be known for what it can do in the physical, or whatever the case may be. So it ain't really got necessarily nothing to do with wanting attention or whatever when you leave the physical world. When you see it from the Aries world, you're seeing it from where it come from first, the intent of it, and then you start to figure out how you do it best in that world. So then now when you better than everybody, you ain't got to do it in this world until you get put to the test or whatever the case is. But you be seeing it from a mile away, or this where just intent come. Yeah, that's if you get out, because everybody Aries at heart. Y'all saying is y'all just in a different area in a different spots. So the Aries got to teach y'all we ain't the child. We got to teach y'all how we the adult. We just don't play kid games because we been there, done that. You see what I'm saying? So everything play out in reverse in the physical world. In the physical world, the things that people take serious, but you grow old real fast in those energies and stuff like that. I've been there, done that. I want to stay light on those energies. I know how hard it get. So I actually could do that better than you. That's why I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I want your problem or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I want your energy. I want your feelings. I want your thought. I want your gratification. You sick spirit already. Why would I want a sick spirit gratification? Why would I want a sick spirit validation? It don't matter if it's positive or negative. It don't matter. If you're a sick spirit, I want it. You know what I'm saying? You got to think deep in it. So a lot of y'all ain't deep in the spiritual world. This will save y'all a lot of headaches, a lot of problems. Sit back, look at people stupid. You laugh when people think you stupid, like, because you stay in God's space. God see everything and be like, motherfuckers think what they think. Like, the last time you prayed and God just let you think what you think? That's pretty much every time you pray, right? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta act like God sometimes. You gotta be like God. God got a certain way, a certain mechanism of thinking and stuff like that. You go like, Jehovah, quit your minute. Get on up. Jehovah. Get on up. You know what I'm saying? That's the Holy Spirit. Then you get all these new ideas. Not, I got the Holy Spirit and God gonna give me that new BMW. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's the devil. You know that. God ain't got nothing to do with it when you ain't got no gas, though. God ain't got nothing to do with it when you got a car accident. Oh, God ain't got nothing to do with you got to pay insurance. God ain't got nothing to do with those parts, though, but God had everything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get all into it. We're going to get all into it, for real. People for the hood need to know these things, need to learn, need to listen real good, because, man, life is crazy. Life is funky. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when you just think about the energies right now, the moon is in Leo. So everybody reacting and responding to setting the stage. It don't even have to be, it's certain zodiac signs or not going beyond zodiac signs. It don't matter. Everybody don't like attention and things of that nature. So it's about even the essence of it. So in the mental spiritual world, that's what thought forms are you giving attention to be fixated on. So a lot of individuals, no matter the zodiac sign or your spiritual system, whether you believe it or not, you're going to be acting or in the world of where the moon is at, and the moon play out the energy where the sun is there, that create that portion of the time of the year that we don't see at no other time of the year. So for the most part, you're going to be forced to be fixated on certain visions and ways of feeling about those visions and seeing things that you may have put in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a square sign, getting back into astrology. So that'd be if you are the opposer, which are the Aquarius, you may be experiencing things that if you was on the wrong side of the universe, you're experiencing the opposite effects of it that may play out into whatever you have put your focus on to obtain things that you are attached to, all the way down to our social security card. We can't get out of these things. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Aquarius. So Aquarius kind of try to be the balance right now, or you're going to be the opposer. You know what I'm saying? Because anytime there's opposite energies, you either the head-on collision, tug-of-war match, need to separate, or you're the actual energy of what the other one don't have, and vice versa. So you become the balance in a situation, or the completion of a situation. So you got the microphone, somebody else had the speaker, so we couldn't wait till you come. Or you're in a situation where your microphone cord messed up because you didn't keep it wrapped up in a safe space or whatever. So now when it was at a time 2 moons ago where your house may have not been crowded, now we at a time where you may have company or whatever the case may be, and then you ain't take that small problem and take care of it before it became a bigger problem. Something was telling you, yeah, I need to make sure I put the microphone up, no matter people here or not. You swept that thought under the rug. Then 2 days later, when the moon went into Leo and stuff like that, you ain't care enough about it when the moon was in Cancer. And I'm sorry I wasn't live for a lot of people in the hood to hear this, to play it out in any kind of situation when I make it for everybody on every ladder, just to make this an example. And then for the most part, boom, you know what I'm saying, like, got lit a little bit. The person, the drunk uncle, got a little overexpressive or whatever the case may be, then tripped out the cord of the microphone. Now it don't work a little bit and stuff like that. Now you're in a situation where you're on the wrong side of the universe. Now it's going to be a situation where, damn, I just brought the speakers so we can get lit now. You can do whatever you about to do. Perform, MC, lecture, or whatever. Tell us what's flunked out dreams you got, and you can't even do it now. Your mic messed up because you swept that small thought 2 days ago up under the rug of putting your mic up. Then now 2 days later, a small problem became big because you're so distracted in the world, things you had to do, people you talking to, and you ain't even had time to think about that thought you swept up under the rug. So by the time things going on, your mic out and everything, and people crowded, and your drunk uncle trying to tell people their old war stories and stuff like that, and you ain't got a microphone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm helping y'all understand how things play out physically, but spiritually, it already be something. It already be something. And this is how that, when y'all do try to ask for God assistance or whatever like that, and see how long you be waiting and stuff like that. Because it was a way you were supposed to think already, and you ain't think that way. And it wasn't like that wasn't an example. That should have been an example right there. You're supposed to give that more importance than other stuff. A lot of y'all jump into victim mode faster and stuff like that. No, you're supposed to give that part importance, and that part take more spiritual responsibility, pardon me, on your own. That take more self-accountability. A lot of spirits don't like being in that space. A lot of people don't like being in that space, no matter what. Oh, it's like it could be the smallest thing. They know that they should have did. They'll blame their mama. They'll blame their grandmama. They'll blame their drunk auntie. They'll blame their sister. They'll blame their nephew real quick and stuff like that. No, you know, like God showed you a hot flash of that thought. You swept right up under the rug. You put it right in your esoteric backseat of the spaceship. You know what I'm saying? You be knowing it too. And then a lot of people, like, they develop a lot of these situations, and it be internal cover up to the point that they cover up so much, it start playing out as unwarranted animosity that sometimes they got to get checked. You know what I'm saying? To realize, like, yeah, you got unwarranted animosity. You got unwarranted entitlement directed towards the wrong people in your life and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? It take for a person to start getting overwhelmed a little bit and feel that their energy getting drained, and you processing and filtering out and resourcing it through things, and realize, like, hold on, stop, buddy. Stop, buddy. You're taking my energy. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. The spirit don't play. The spirit let everybody know. Because you're doing something, we're going in a certain direction. And like God went in that direction. So God figured out to plant the seed first. You know how to plant it. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out, oh, it takes a seed to plant the fruit. There's a lot of people that take longer than other people to realize that. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into what is the fruit. So you understand mental illness. But for the most part, okay, we 20 minutes in, my bad. But let me generalize the energies. Let me put this on Patreon too. But for the most part, just when the moon being a goddamn Leo is making everybody react to response to setting the stage for a cause and an event or a cause and an effect based upon whether they giving more attention to a thought that they swept up under the rug or they want to express themselves in a way that they haven't expressed themselves, whether it played out a little bit as resentment or guilt or with regret. And now they're choosing the time because Leo is giving it the energy to react and respond where the moon is at in that world to see it and react on it. And it's going to be filtered out to look like how it's being reacted upon, how the sun is in Taurus. So it's going to look practical or it's going to look like a person trying to be practical. And this is where a person may create frustrations with themselves if it's internally or with others if they're doing this externally and they're unproductive because this is a 90-degree angle amongst each other. So when we talk about fire, that's seeing and feeling. Leo is fixed fire, seeing and feeling in a fixated way, not trying to initiate some new way like Aries or not trying to adjust, add on, or separate like the Sagittarius mutable, right? So it's being fixated on this way of seeing and try to carry this out to be a cause or an effect. But then it's playing out as the other fixated energy, Taurus. So for the most part, as Taurus being the sun, things may not be practical when it comes into expressing. So when we come to expressing a feeling, if you're not careful, you may express a feeling that others around you or to yourself may not realize a little later that wasn't even really practical, or that really didn't make sense, or that's really not. And when I say practical, you could be expressing a goal that you ain't thinking about everything it takes for that goal to happen, but you overexcited about the goal because of what you envision of what you're going to do. But it might take you to have gas to get there. But you trying to rock us to sleep. Oh, when I get there to the audition, I'm going to win. Y'all heard this song we was doing. Yeah, we believe you. We heard that song or whatever the case may be. But bruh, you thinking about gas prices right now? You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. So you might not think we all jump in the car too fast. Oh, we all jump in the car too fast and stuff like that based off your setting the stage for a cause or an effect. Now, we all affected because we in the middle of the road with no gas trying to go away to Detroit and make a new Motown Records. Off your, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that kind of energy. It's that the square energy. You got to understand, like, you could go all out and expressive about something that it may not be practical. And if you go far with it, you're going to realize that 90-degree angle is real. The moon and the sun is actually doing a 90-degree angle amongst each other. Go outside and do it. So if you're saying it's pseudo, the way you're going to go into another argument, see, I'm Aries. I can see where you're already thinking first, is, well, just because the sun and the moon is aligned a certain way, why does that have an effect on people? All right, to understand things in the mind, you got to understand it from the mind, not just physical. So for the most part, if you're seeing physical representations, obviously, if you can see that angle and draw that kind of square angle on a piece of paper, you wouldn't even have that thought if it wasn't something doing that first. So obviously, if the sun and moon made that angle before a tree branch can make that angle, before you could do that angle, or whatever the case may be, you just going to be arguing which one did that angle first, a tree branch stretching out or the sun and moon. And I'm going to tell you which one we can see deteriorate first, the sun or moon. Then I'm going to be already on the better end of the argument because you're not intelligent like that. Y'all be lost in NASA's and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you, all right, the essence of angle. If I could take this angle and based upon my intelligence, make it relatable, we're getting close to God, make it relatable and in sync with something in reality, even if it ain't something as a physical angle like a branch, I can say this is a mental angle to attack a circumstance or a situation. If you're struggling with something mentally and you're in this thought and this thought from this angle can square out that thought, then you ain't got no other explanation for it. And I'm going to tell you, give grace of God. You know what I'm saying? That's sick because I ain't going to never take the credit from it. I'm going to tell you I learned something based upon my own spiritual walk journey. You know what I'm saying? So, for the most part, you can do the same. We all can do the same. And I'm just a vessel for you. So, you take the words path. I take, you know what I'm saying? You take your spirit walk. I take my spirit walk. And that's how you learn it. Other than that, then you'll have a person trying to use it for ego and stuff like that and try to use authority over something. Now we got store runners that exist now and stuff like that. Dogers that exist now. You know what I'm saying? Pawns. You know what I'm saying? Casualties of war. Hey, somebody got to play these roles. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to play these roles. Somebody got to play these roles. You know what I'm saying? But it's a deep game when we start talking about spirit. Matter of fact, let's go into the Matrix right now. Let's go into the Matrix right now. You know what I'm saying? We about to understand mental health, how to feed yourself, why you may be unhealthy spiritually, and the whole concept of these things from a beginning, so you don't get lost and you know where to go to actually get help. And also, if you're a destructive or unproductible person, just being on this path by default allows your unproductivity to be left to your own devices. So you won't be harming yourself and others, getting out of your own mental harming yourself first. And then once you get into that space, you didn't fought half the battle. You didn't fight out. You almost won half the battle. Tell you the truth, if you stay there. A lot of people get up again and get right back in jail. This is deep. That's deep. I'm telling you, it's deep. Now let's check it out. Get your money. Get your money. As long as you ain't doing nothing that harm others. You know what I'm saying? Something that got something to do with money. That's what it was made for. Just like lawyers was made for the goddamn rock people to sleep and what they say to change. I forgot what they call it, but y'all know it's a scheming ass world, scheming. But let's check this out. What the spirit eat? Now, the spirit eats its own creation and others if lacking in that development on its own, right? AKA being in someone else's space, aka the spirit, to see how they construct their idea expression, aka mind, from an angle and substance formation that may be useful for you. So the actual concept of what it means to be in a spirit, you're taking your spirit, your space, your soul, trying to move into some other space. By default, that's another angle outside of your space, and whatever in that space fulfilling its own noumenal, mental body, first body, right? You're seeing what idea that you may lack or could be useful to sustain your mentality when you're in your own space as a spirit or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times you could be misguided and be in the wrong spaces amongst the wrong spirits. Sometimes you could be in the right spaces amongst the right spirits. And we're talking about the mechanism. A lot of y'all are lost in the physical flesh, still looking from it, but you're out of order. But you have no choice but to look at it from where it comes from first. So a lot of times, would you decide as a spirit, if you're lost in the flesh, what the mind creates is what may suit your bias first, and make that as a justification if you're in the right spiritual space or if you're in the wrong spiritual space. But you're not doing that genuinely from the first essence of it. You're doing that from the second essence of it, kind of like zodiac signs born after Aries. You're still an Aries because you did something first, just in your own position. So something's already laid out for you. So you're doing something with your first energy, not just doing the first thing for there to be something for you to do after the fact. You see what I'm saying? And that's not to discredit any other zodiacs. I'm just basically trying to explain to y'all from my perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you're trying to hear about other type of stuff, a lot of people don't even know what they're talking about, even about your zodiac sign. Things ain't even about personality like that. It's about traits that we see beyond people's personalities that you can see in nature and mentally that de-evolves into many things beyond, such as personality. But that come after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Characteristics and all that come after the fact. First, we're seeing something naturally done. Then we see it produced and become nature. Anything you get ready to think of after that comes after the fact. And you're just piggybacking off of it. All the way to your concept of light and dark, night and day, good and evil. You're just piggybacking off of something that's already doing something that you get ready to create a concept off of it that got something to do with your bias that make you retarded a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because at daytime, I got to do this. Because at nighttime, I got to do daytime, nighttime. Fuck about your thoughts. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? There's something happening and there's a way of going about it. What you talking about? It got something to do with it. You done made enough money on the block or not. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about? You done scammed enough people in a white collar, blue collar business. That's what you talking about. You ain't shit. Full of shit. A lot of people be full of shit. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, so what the spirit eats, it eats its own creation, which is awareness, mental constructs, right? It eats its own creations and others, other spaces, other spirits, souls, their individual concepts of what they represent for their individual space. If you want to look at it like a bee in a bunch of pockets as the space, and what they're fulfilling in it as their numino, their thoughts and feelings, their first body as the honey. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork makes the dream work. All of that comes together and by default become a surrounding and expansion and a distance, but a fulfillment of what we're creating between us, right? So teamwork makes the dream work. All of our minds connect and become the world we in, and you have your individual piece of it that you connect to it, and then it condenses and become the physical world we all could be aware of from our own perception. See what I'm saying? So what the spirits eats is its own creation and others if lacking in that development on its own, aka being in someone else's space, aka the spirit, to see how they construct their idea expression, aka mind, from an angle and substance formation that may be useful for you. And if you in that type of train of thought and line of reasoning going in that direction, you'll be able to go beyond a species like an animal or a human and start to see at most DAPs, spirits in the mental bodies, whether they're getting born again or they just died and they're in a transition of either helping us expand to be born again, as like how I'm doing it. It's the same thing. It ain't no different thing. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's when you'll be able to see it from that aspect and be able to understand how to receive stimuli. It's almost like, let's say, smell, touch, see, hear, and feel. Then it has an essence of that. So there's a way of seeing, feeling that ain't that representation, but it's still seeing and feeling and hearing and touch. See what I'm saying? And when you understand, you starting to understand the process you're making as a spirit, you're making the mental body that created that concept, then it bends into a way you can use it once it becomes physical. So now you're starting to keep track of what's actually going on. What we're doing, we're creating the process of something to do it, then it becomes useful or whatever. So you're already seeing, hearing, touching, you're already doing things in the spiritual world. When you're making your first body, your mind, and the mind is going to be your first body that represent the space that you in. This is how I'm able to see how you move, and that's based intent represent the spiritual space and what makes a person be in that space in the first place. And then for the most part, all actions can only be derived from that space once it developed the awareness is there, the mind, and play those things out physically and stuff like that. So this is how you see true intent. Also, beyond what a person come second, they're using their intent for their bias or their monetary gain. Then there's people before them that made books and stuff like that of how to go about this insecurity a lot more sufficient to lie to yourself like it's not an insecurity. So now it becomes, yeah, I don't get bitches, but if I have rims, I could be a red pill and act like I got bitches and act like I got a good relationship. You see what I'm saying? It's like that. And I go on the manuscript and you live a hard life like that or whatever. That's hell. You know what I'm saying? Where you think it's pleasure. So your whole ego is to stunt on other people that because they ain't in hell like you, or they ain't trying to have the type of bills you have, or they ain't trying to have the, you know what I'm saying? You end up trying to shame people because they ain't in hell with you. Because your pleasures get ready to let you know that all this ain't what it's souped up to be. Be careful what you ask for type stuff. You taking on responsibilities that ain't even yours, that other spirits is their responsibilities. You just like what the responsibility, what came with it or whatever. But you start not liking the responsibility, and that's your spirit start to show you, and I don't like everything we got to do to uphold this look. And then that's your spirit start to show you that, hey, this might be an ego. This might not be us. And we see a lot of people crash out and lose it all and give it all away and everything. And Britney Spears shave her head and anything when it get to those sticky matters. When it start to get those sticky matters for a spirit, and you start to see some crazy stuff from a distance that you wish you should have, could have, if you was in a position to stay doing what they was doing, that you seeing them crash out about and stuff. You know, and that's when you will never understand, because the spirit working on them at the moment. Now, some devils in the world, if you watch TV too much, that'll take these actual real events and try to make money off of it and throw an actor at you or a movie and then try to say, hey, they going through this, y'all, whatever, then everybody making money off it. All them people going to hell, though. That's what demonic energy actually is. I don't know how y'all be looking at demonic or whatever. Demonic is anytime you're doing something that ain't got nothing to do. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. All that other stuff come from other spirits that was in bodies justifying their bad doings. We made up what we think we're not doing bad. And in the mental world, that went extreme. In the physical world, things be inevitable. So it's a little easier to be like, that's wrong. That's not. But then when it comes into the mental world, man, you can use your mind for just a whole bunch of dumb stuff. Everybody's mind is intelligent, but when a person lost in their bias, they're intelligently inclined to their biases. So they're more unpredictable. You get too close, they might harm themselves and harm you involved. You know what I'm saying? But it'd be filtered out through things that y'all think y'all Walt Disney taught y'all supposed to get. So, God be looking at things differently, just like senses. God give y'all a lot of examples. You could be doing things and a beaver watching you, but it's looking at it different. It don't got your same biases, nothing. It still got eyeballs, still got a brain, just totally different biases. But here's the thing: both parties got to plant a seed for a fruit to grow. I seen beavers plant seeds. I see all that stuff. I see jelly beans plant stuff in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Both parties got. So there's a mechanism that what we do is how we do it, regardless of what your bullshit ass mind be thinking about. Anybody could use a mind. Anybody could use a seed. That don't mean everybody could plant it and it grow a fruit. And there ain't nothing in existence that go another way. So a person would be walking around with a backpack full of seeds all day doing dumb stuff with it. Hey, maybe I can do this in GMO way. Maybe I can manipulate that. Maybe I can. In reality, yeah, you might get a orange with no seeds in it, a watermelon or something with no seeds. Yeah, in reality, you still gonna get fed or something like that and stuff. But there's gonna be a whole bunch of other stuff. You get ready. Get ready. Get ready. I'm saying you done got too lost into the physical. And God gonna show you all those extreme things you had to do to even get that done. That you didn't even have to do. You didn't even have to take all those pills and stuff like that. Your dick was small as this small. You didn't have to take all them down. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other stuff you can. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real out. God be looking at certain things. God be looking at certain stuff, y'all. God be like, get your mind right. It's good to laugh a little bit too. Get your mind right. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing, right? So, with a spiritual production, basically with the spirit creating, right? When the solo spirit, aka the soul, creates an awareness, and the awareness itself is the substance, we are calling fruit or spiritual clothing if you bask in it like an ego or an extreme pleasure. That's when it becomes clothing. It's something you're wearing. Now, it's good to do these things if you're hiding yourself from manipulators or someone trying to drain your energy or take some from you, right? So for the most part, the best way to play those games, or it ain't a game, but play those type of circumstances is with being a wolf in sheep clothing. So for the most part, that's like a game bankers thinking they shooting and you ain't get shot, but lay down and act like you did so they don't have to make sure, or whatever the case may be. Therefore, you ain't do no moving and you played the fool. They somewhere laughing, thinking you dead, and you got your ass up and ran away to safety, or however the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So, based on scenario or circumstance or situation, this is what the spirit kind of teach you when you're spiritually inclined. But when it comes to spiritual production, understanding it from that train of thought and line of reasoning, you always know that's first. You in order. You can get lost on Walt Disney all you want. For anything you're trying to do, you're going to be starting from this world. People just be in this world, everybody in this world first, but give more importance to, they leave the second world, the mind, third world, the body, fourth world is everything the body create externally. The atmosphere, the physical things, and the things we create with it, like technology and conveniences that y'all call in science, which just are things that make what we already know how to do easier, that based on our conveniences. But for the most part, here's the thing. Y'all get lost in that order, but you have no choice but to be in the order of how you was born in the first place and became aware. So when you lose that, you start to use how you made these things, and you start to get lost into using how you made these things for these things, and start basing your life on these things, and start saying the beginning of life started on this thing and the Big Bang and some stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? First of all, the universe is this a term for everything within it, not something itself that could be born or explode. There's firecrackers within a container that can explode, not the container itself exploding. You know what I'm saying? So if the universe was a cave or whatever the case may be, but it ain't no cave, but I'm just using that as an example. It's something we in. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't the thing, it's describing all the things within it. Caves, trees, or whatever the case may be, and all that and y'all get lost in English and generalizing with one term, and then y'all start making the concepts off of it, and then y'all sound just as stupid as Neil deGrasse. So you end up thinking you intelligent about stuff that's not intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So y'all will hear Neil deGrasse talk about atoms, and then you're already institutionalized, so you're set up to think that his interpretation of atoms is intelligent, where the concept of atoms itself is dumb. So you just got people making money off y'all based off calling this concepts, like, you know, that don't have anything to do with reality. It's either something small or something big. The moment you over exaggerate quantum or whatever the case may be, you rocking people to sleep. You rocking people to sleep. And you don't know no more than somebody else. You got a job, and if you a doctor and somebody comes to the hospital, you get on that computer and do the research on their symptoms and do what someone already did that wasn't in no hospital, the mixture of plants together, and think was needed. That's all you do. Ain't no human doing nothing special. And if y'all want to talk about science and technology, somebody just created something that could be more convenient. Instead of going out getting a plant, you made a powder version of it and put it in a little, put it in a goddamn shot or a needle or some shit like that, and it's liquefied and it was produced in a factory, so it's already there in the hospital. That's the only nothing else. Big machine. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else. Oh, since y'all be getting it, y'all humans be getting their egos. Their ego. So goddamn well, you just want your refrigerator and freezer packed, boxes of cereal on top, good old snacks and stuff like that, or honey, like goddamn cream pies and stuff like that, or honey buns and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Little Star Crunches and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, nutty buddies. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing wrong with that, and that's one thing you'll never hear from an Aries. You ain't gonna hate on nobody's money. Hate on nobody if they want to together. That's it. I don't like that. I don't like when people be hating on people's money now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, leave people alone if you got a salty spirit. You know what I'm saying? You got a salty spirit for a reason that goes way beyond money. It goes way beyond what you hating on, way beyond what you giving attention to. It goes way beyond Vegeta's hairline. It go way beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be tripping sometimes, man. Y'all be tripping. But like I said, right, what is spiritual production? When the solo spirit, aka the soul, creates an awareness, and the awareness itself is a substance we are calling fruit or spiritual clothing, if you bask in it like an eagle. Once it's something mentally that be like, ooh, I like this thought, then it turn into a feeling, you all in it, then it turn into something you inside, an emotion. Sometimes it's hard to get out of it, and the things that could come from it, once you act it out physically or just see it in the mind, right? You don't want things to be seen or received in no other type of way. And a lot of times, once you go too far into that train of thought and line of reasoning, it can be very bad for you. And it play out in the physical world as you being stubborn, you know what I'm saying? You being inconsistent, you procrastinating, or you being in the ego, or you wanting something to go specifically your way, or you a narc. You know what I'm saying? It can play a lot of ways that you just a big old spiritual crybaby about stuff that you don't even deserve. I don't know why you expressing all that entitled energy. You know what I'm saying? Who told you was Beyonce? Who told you was Mariah Carey? Who told you was Aretha Franklin? Who told you was Shaka Khan? You know what I'm saying, Rusty? Yeah, I really think about these things at times. People don't be thinking. They show ask for $100 million just to show up to the studio. Somebody want to come to your studio to say, smell your ass? You know what I'm saying? You better come with something to the table. Oh, none of that. But yeah, that's spiritual production, you know? But look, now as we do these things, you may stumble over or create or take or eat a thought form that's not good for you, which becomes poison. That makes you rotten in somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Remember, seeing and taking are perceived through different vessels, different lenses. So in a spiritual world, so it has a like different perception and reaction to the stimuli. Yet it's still the same concept and mechanism. Like I said, planting a seed, a fruit grow. So in the mental world, that comes from somewhere. So when you have a thought, it's seated somewhere. You can leave it alone, it can drift away, or you can focus on it. Focus on it is esoteric light. Once it turns into an emotion, that's esoteric water. Then it starts to produce as something that makes you want to react to it. That becomes esoteric physicality once it becomes that air and travel, right? So it went from fire, water, air, and travel, and now it condensed as actual adrenaline. And then for the most part, it becomes the way you move your elbow. It becomes your facial expression. It becomes the way you construct whatever social norm or language that we're utilizing at the moment. So it ain't the what, it's the how or whatever. But if you're spiritually inclined, you're able to always be in this perspective. And when you're in this perspective, you're more in order. Spirit, mind, body, physical. Not and then you have no choice but to be in order. So when you live out of order, you're using your spirit, then your mind. Then a lot of y'all got so lost into the mind based upon what you did with the mind for your flesh and the things that the flesh was able to obtain or built with it externally. You stop believing in the observer position. You even observe in different mind states. You don't even think anymore. So you don't believe in your soul anymore, your spirit. Then you start only thinking in the mind. Then when the mind don't produce the physical results, whether exercise or whether physically, externally, like it did before, you start shaming yourself or find more manipulation tricks, which we're going to get into. But you're so far away from what you already have as a soul and as the original order, you didn't lost your soul, yet still being a soul. You lost your soul in your mind. You lost your mind in your body, the flesh, and you lost your flesh into the external things we create in the world and the things we can do from the nature and technology and stuff like that. And once you're out of order, you're going to be in limbo. Sometimes you're going to be using the physical to suit the body. Sometimes you're going to be using the body to suit the mind. Sometimes you're going to be using the mind to suit the physical. Sometimes, whether it's manipulation, sometimes you're going to be using the mind to suit the body. So lie to yourself like you somebody, because I'm a PhD or a bachelor. You know what I'm saying? It gets deep. It gets deep. But your spirit ain't nowhere to be found. But you still your spirit though. You just lost into your representations that it created and what other spiritual spaces you amongst. So this is the esoteric wave world. You're seeing all the waters and it's complete. I don't want to say no color or nothing like that because y'all be trying to make images that's really y'all own perception of something that we're supposed to be in a space of knowing where your perception you get ready to be lost in is the essence from for you to even make something out of it. Y'all don't be in that space. That's how you can spot manipulation. You can spot dumb stuff, retarded stuff, a person who think they're intelligent, but is only intelligent in the world that they in. You know what I'm saying? The world, the group of water waves that they in itself is probably destructive or whatever the case. But it's the way how those in that section, maybe it's a group of piranhas. Maybe that's how piranhas survive. You know what I'm saying? The hammerheads, fish, and the sharkfish heads over here might not, you know what I'm saying? The bluegill fish might be over here living a different way. The jellyfish, you know what I'm saying? But y'all all those type of fish minds with your space inside of it, and y'all minds is connected, making the whole water. But a piece of that water, that bubble, is your mind. And then a lot of times you can see each puddle when you in my world, when you God's children, you stay in that world. You ain't of these characters. You create these characters. It's an ability, not something you submerged in. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all haven't made it to the at most DAP to become a land being in the esoteric spiritual world. A lot of y'all still in the water beings. All y'all water beings. So still. So y'all still dealing with emotions, thought, energy. Y'all not creating no energy. Y'all got science talking about energy can't be created nor destroyed. That's wrong. Energy always can be created, or it would be no such thing as size, velocity, volume, or mass. What's being emanated? So whatever energy world y'all in, that's a low class world, and y'all shouldn't be attaching that to other things. A lot of y'all be saying y'all God is energy and stuff like that. You basically saying your God is your feelings, your mind, because that's what energy is. Your thoughts and your feelings, and that's the only thing that move you. You could be a spirit in somebody else's space, and all their thoughts and feelings is move you. And if you're a weak spirit, you lack your spark of thought and feeling protection. So all that will overwhelm you. So we still produce blood from that. You just don't know how to produce your own. So all that overwhelm you in the mental and emotion, it condense and be too much blood that you didn't self-check and control, so it play out as you being nervous or you not knowing how to handle something, or you need to be assistance. But that's the actual reality of what's going on. Not y'all sci-fi movies, not y'all NASA tricks, nothing. If you learn life, whether you believe in God or not, you see mechanisms. And you understand it, and you put it to test, and you do it, and it's no other way, like planting a seed and a fruit grow. And you start to realize, oh, it's like this in life and things that people lost in Walt Disney, not even thinking about that they still have to do every day to even know who Walt Disney is. You see what I'm saying? And we're not talking about Walt Disney. Shout out to Disney family and stuff like that. I'm just generalizing what we all could be lost in, like possible commercials or even your own biases, and that becomes the world to you, other than the things that produce it for you to even know what that thing is in the first place, to be an active participant in God's life. You know what I'm saying? Which we all in. I'm saying stuff like this make, the common hood killer or whatever the case may be. There's other things in life, and you don't have to be so down on yourself in other areas, and you start to get back on your 1-2 mentally first. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, now when we do these things, like I said, you may stumble over or create or take or eat a thought form that's not good for you, which becomes poison. That makes you rotten inside somewhere internally. Remember, seeing and taking or eating are perceived through different vessels and lenses, so it has a different perception or reaction to the stimuli, yet still the concept of and the mechanism as seeing, tasting, and eating. When you receive a thought that you don't like, that's a rotten fruit. But for it to be in that position, it was brought to you and you wasn't in that spiritual space willingly. When you experience dislikes that you was in a spiritual space willingly, a lot of times it's based off that spiritual space you wanted to be in the first place, off your bias or your spiritual safe haven, and just things didn't go the natural way in order, like a spring, summer, fall, and winter as you decided. You know what I'm saying? That bush ain't growing the same area that spring that it did last spring. You know what I'm saying? That kind of concept. And when you know how to get into this type of equilibrium, there's things I can't really explain that you will only be able to be in your own space. I just led you to the water. You got to make your own cut. I led you through the field. You got to take your own vision quest. You see what I'm saying? You got to see it for yourself. But you know that that's an experience, like a valley. If I went through that valley, you have possibilities of going through a valley. We can stay on opposite sides of the world, yet there's a valley. We can stay on opposite sides of the world, yet there's a cave, there's a shelter. You know what I'm saying? There's a longhouse, there's a house, there's a building. So there's qualities of how to do it, even down to planting a seed that ain't got nothing to do with me and you being around each other or whatever the case may be. So that's fixed. So those are examples in life showing you there's things that's fixed beyond which y'all try to create to be fixed, that still had to take this process for that to even exist. The first quality of it. You know what I'm saying? So now y'all getting the Aries mind to speak for all Aries. We'll go beyond a little that though. But when y'all start to understand that, you start to understand foundations before something is already a safe haven for somebody to be in, and close the windows when it start getting too hot outside or cold outside, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? With their esoteric internal weather storm. But it's like your spirit is actually eating. So once you start to look at that a little bit more serious, you'll start to see future experiences where you can look back and didn't take that serious and see how much that means, see what it means now, and see how situations start to evolve into this type of way by not taking it serious. And then you'll start to realize you've been wasting your whole life on things that ain't got nothing to do with life. You're using life for these things, especially when it comes to things like death. You're using life, emanating thoughts and feelings for things that thoughts and feelings create to become what we call death or the flesh. So you don't know how to sustain the pleasure, and you start to use your mind for the things after it became pleasure. So now it becomes pain to get it. So now you got to go through pain to get pleasure. You got to go through hell to get heaven. Y'all living backwards. These are things we make. Once you're lost and have to be in search, you already made a mistake, but you ain't no school to teach y'all where these mistakes be. Because ain't nobody pointing to be like, this aspect of life is serious, and you're using it anyway towards the things that someone taught you, like Walt Disney on commercials and Terminator movies, to be serious. You know what I'm saying? So your energy is being misdirected. Your energy is being misguided. Yet you got the energy. Yet you got a mind. Yet you got a brain. What are you using it for? See what I'm saying? So the mind is always intelligent. It's just a lot of y'all get convinced into being used for intelligently dumb things. So you become an intelligent retard. You become You can speak real good for something. A lot of y'all religions, y'all speak real good for stuff. Y'all it's the stuff that don't even make no sense in reality, or whatever the case may be. And it got nothing to do with a mechanism. And if it boils all down, it got something to do with your insecurity. And it just assisted you when you lack that mental development for yourself. So you had to be in the spirit. Whether it was Jesus or whatever, you just had to be in somebody else's space, some Spangler space or somebody else's space or whatever the case may be, because you lack that development on your own. And so it's an insecurity, and a system based off other people's cultures who probably didn't have that insecurity. So it was a mathematical way of how to deal with that insecurity for oneself. And it just so happens hundreds of years later, you using it in your life out of context for your own biases. So you become a representative of something, and you ain't a Spangler, but you Joe Osteen in America getting you Creflo Dollar though. You know what I'm saying? You TD Jakes though. Oh, shout out to them. Get your money, man. Believe in Jesus. Get your money. Get your money. You won't hear me making thousands of live streams with y'all names and a title and stuff. I just be making examples, move on. Everybody else got their own life and stuff like that. And that's how I even protect myself spiritually for my own things that ain't got nothing to do with anybody. Mind your spiritual business, mental business, and y'all business. And see what God got for you. You actually have some business you can mind. And hopefully it's a gold mine. Hopefully it's a gold mine. Spirituality for the hood. But let's check this out, right? So as we do these things, you may stumble over or create or take or eat thought forms that's not good for you, which becomes poison. That makes you rotten in somewhere. So remember, seeing and taking and perceiving through different vessels or different perceptions is how I need to be taken through the spiritual world. So, and it's a mechanism as seeing and tasting and eating in that aspect. So receiving thoughts and feelings or producing thoughts and feelings, your spirit is no thing, not nothing, no thing. It's just a space. So that's how you eat, producing your own fruit and awareness. That becomes fire, light, vision, water, a collection of visions or multiple visions that you do in that spot, right? Air, that's shattering of water. And then earth, once it plant and seed and something you're constructing in. Now it becomes a rooted mentality. So you can look at frequency like fire, vibration like water, energy like the physical representation of it, and air transition through all of it. So frequency, which you about to image by default is future, frequency, fire. Then you emanated something by default, you inside of it. So that's automatically condensing. Once you expand it, now you condensed inside of that. That's your mind. So that's automatically you are vibrating or adding or doing the same thing in multiple ways. So now it becomes vibration, water, something you're inside of, something you just created outside of you. By default, you inside of it. If you nothing as a spirit. So you emanate. Boom. You're aware of yourself, your mind. By default, you inside of what you just emanated though. So you created something from nothing. Now that something is your mind. That no thing is what's inside of it, right? The spirit. Now, once you do the same thing inside of it over and over again, it condenses as substance. Now you get ready to develop organs, veins, blood flow. And this is how we bring ourselves here. Then that teamwork makes the dream work. How we did it there is sex. Your mind and everybody else's mind around you that created from their space connecting. That condense and become the lighter reality, the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, the atmospheres, the light, or whatever, and everything we're doing individually become a concept we all can experience doing individually, right? So that's how we get the sun, the moon, the light, the wind, the water, or whatever. And then now you got your physical representation, and we all could be in one physical representation of that, the physical world, or whatever the case may be. Now that mechanism, somebody did that better than you. So for the most part, respect gain. Whether you believe in God or the whatever universe, however the case may be, spirits, the spiritual world, there's multiple spirits in all these little, you know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to think it's one, whoever think, talking about sitting around one person, some human came up with that thought, and they probably the person trying to rule you, everybody around you, yo image. So that's a faulty thingy. That's a faulty, or would be no such thing as continents and different people. So you gotta understand that too. It's a deep game. We ain't gonna get into all that right now, because I'm trying to help the hood. People need help. People getting in jail, people getting out of jail, people getting shot, people shooting others, people getting robbed, people robbing others. We got to help each other. Real stuff. So I'm saying, and can't nobody teach us the way we teach us. You know what I'm saying? From our perspective, can't nobody come and remix our mind like any ethnicity, but they come in that energy like a Mormon or a colonizer or some religious. They don't even got the concept to even know where we coming from for us to do what we do or think how we think. So it's a rejection without knowing how to reject it. So if it get acted out, the actions could be justified and get put in negative boxes or positive boxes, like rebellion, whatever, or get money made out. But a lot of that, all that is retarded portions of life. You know, nobody got to be in none of that retarded stuff. Everybody lost in retarded games that a beaver and long neck giraffe or kangaroo pouch necks don't have to go through and stuff like that. Or, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to go through stuff at SeaWorld jungle alligators and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things will be having to go through that. So, in reality, things that are bad spiritually, things that are spiritually bad could appear to be good towards your biases turned to habits. Pardon me. Pardon me. In reality, which ultimately leads to you just deciding when things go your way, you did something right without further thought process outside of yourself or what you was a part of that catered to your bias. Let me repeat. So this is the first train of thought, how you get lost in the spiritual world. In reality, things that are bad spiritually, in reality, can appear to be good if you're lost a little bit in expectation via towards your biases turn to habits in reality, which ultimately leads to you just deciding that things that go your way is you doing something right without a further thought outside of yourself or what you was a part of to cater to your bias or the process you took. And a lot of times you become an esoteric. You use the quality where in the physical world, it may play out as you being a people pleaser. In a spiritual world, you're being a thought pleaser. And even if it's a thought you was a part of, created, or not yours, you will always go back to that so it can continue to produce the things in your physical life or that safe haven for you to feel comfortable. And when you start to experience it being drained and you don't know how to go build it elsewhere, spiritually, this is examples of a weak spirit. So eventually it's going to start to lead into these other characteristics that we start to talk about, right? But then, so it really just leads into when something don't go your way based upon your bias. And the way you take it spiritually harder than others unknowingly. And you come up with the concept thinking that you didn't do something right if something don't go your way based upon your bias. But really, your bias just didn't get met, and you confused it with thinking you're doing some action wrong, or you may need to start to do certain things again in that same area. Maybe you will get it right. So you have to be careful because it ain't had nothing to do with the process. It has the reason why things didn't go right based upon your bias was because your intentions. And just because you did something that favored your bias and you get ready to jump back into the same intent, if you experience something that goes not in favor of your bias, you're already like in the wrong intentions. And that's what destroyed it, or whatever the case may be. So you may not think that's what's going on if you're doing certain things and you don't know if it's a negative intent or not, based upon you being lost in the external world, because whatever that you're doing helps your bias or helps your flesh or whatever. You see what I'm saying? But when you're a person who genuinely know how to make these things, you don't care when you lose something because you know how to do it again. So it'll be a small percentage of you trying to do the same thing again and do that over. You could see this, people who creative, let's say people who make music. They could do a song that they know was dope. Say something happened in the studio where it mess up. A person who genuine will be higher on a percentage scale to come up with the decision, I'm just going to make a whole nother song. I'm not able to do that again. A person who's lost in a whole bunch of other, I have to make something look good. I'm red pill. I need this cover up externally, out of order energy. They have to fight to get back into that space. And then they force themselves to try to redo it again. Now, when both of these people are around each other, one may be lost into the world that Walt Disney taught us, so it looked like it's more safe to try to do it again. They might question, hey, the song that was messed up, why you ain't try to do that again, or whatever the case may be. Even if the person who is really genuine could do it over or not do it as good, right? It's in their heart to know, if I did it, I can do it again, because this is an ability, not something I got from my ability, and I need that in order for me to sustain myself. However, I did that, I could do that again, and that's where sustaining itself comes from. Not I did something, I'm spiritually lost. I don't know how I did it, but I'm getting attention. Let me do that again. And then when that thing ain't sustaining no more, now it's like the bridge that's burnt and you don't know how to swim. And Aries know how to swim. We burn down all bridges and force you to be in a situation of not knowing how to think. Force you in a situation of knowing how to, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all get comfortable in y'all own formations, and Aries created the bridge that's already burnt. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about thinking. It ain't about it. So thinking come from an ability, not something that after you already thought and there's a way of going about it. Then for the most part, that's what it means. No, thinking come from somewhere. Know how to do that first. You know what I'm saying? Know what intentions come from first. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, think about it like this. It'd be like Aries, then you got Taurus, then you got Gemini. So Taurus or Aries, them being first and being practical or whatever the case may be, it's like now they're lost into being practical and doing that first, other than doing something first and then be practical. And we're all doing something first. And that's what Aries here, to let you know, you create the stimuli first for that. Not you doing that first and you still have to use your stimuli to do that. You're going to miss certain things because that's there first is there for a reason. That thing is there for an intent. And it goes a direction. Just like we see in life, water goes a direction. And everybody has their own bias that they have to protect in certain levels. So that direction might not go in your favor. And there may be a direction that do go in your favor. So you could be practical with the wrong intentions. Taurus, Gemini, you could be communicating and thinking with the wrong intentions, wrong perspective. Cancer, you could be feeling and dealing with your emotions from the wrong intention. Leo, you could be expressive or trying to see something from the wrong intention. Virgo, you could be in a situation trying to analyze something from the wrong intention. Then when you try to give in your 2 cents and help, others may think that you're trying to harm or criticize or be overcritical. Libra, you could try to be relatable or create balance and fairness with the wrong intentions. You were just trying to cheat and make sure your wife don't, you know what I'm saying? Or you were just trying to keep things fair for you could keep rocking everybody to sleep and be the silent leader. You know, it'd be tricky. But you got to see these things. You know what I'm saying? Scorpio, you don't be having the intent at times of what emotions that you're trying to keep tucked and show this emotion so you can see the plot because you like us Aries. This is how we do it. The Aries express it. You might hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? But we're both in the same area or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times you're revengeful. Scorpios are revengeful. Aries are spiteful. But we're coming from the same position, seeing a plot. So we'll show this character because we keep this character personal or hidden. First house, 8th house. Aries, Scorpio, Mars, separation, not destruction, separation. So when it comes to our emotions or what we choose to show, this is why Aries don't care about attention like the Leo fire sign. We keep this hidden and then we show what's ever suitable for the situation or whatever the case. And then it's just Scorpio sometimes be more on a percentage scale of doing that for their personal gain and things that go in their favor. Aries do this to just be on their own because they don't want anyone else controlling their way of being seen or their actions a lot of times. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times Aries may not have an external purpose to do it. It may be personal. No one control me, so this is what I'd rather show in this situation because I already know how I think or feel. So I don't want to get caught in this person think I need validation or I don't want to get caught in validating them in any way, shape, or form. You got your space, I got my space, but we can connect if it's something for common interest or whatever. Scorpios might separate from an emotion and show you this if they trying to figure out when you go to work and they off and so they could be at your wife crib or whatever. Y'all said they might be in it for that. You see what I'm saying? For the reasons of that and things of that nature. So they'll be like, oh, so they got this emotion over here and they show you that emotion because this emotion might be trying to creep when you at work and you didn't let them know all your business. But Aries do it for a different reason. I'm going to show you this, but I'm going to be this because I see what you showing me later on down the line going to have things I don't care to do when I'm doing my own thing or whatever the case may be. So it might be even times if we at work or whatever, because I ain't got no job, but you know, how y'all be at work. It might be at times how y'all had conversations to pass the time. It might be times that I know what kind of energy you in that you know not to come to me today with that conversation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you know last time you had the conversation with me, I ain't add on too much to it like the other person you was talking to that we was in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? So you should know I ain't getting ready to add on to it as much next time. So that's why I showed you that character. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you start to overwhelm me a little bit or whatever the case may be, I'm gonna show you how much I already do know, or whatever type of person you is, or whatever the case, and the whole reason why I'm like that towards you in the first place. You thought I was acting fast. No, I already seen it. I already been there, done it, studied it. I thought about the million of other people who was in the same space you was. Thought about how a retard could have thought about it and took actions on it. How a smart person could have thought about it, took action on it. A person who probably needed assistance when they failed. A person who probably had it all. You know what I'm saying? I start thinking about it, did that, but now it's so when I did something, you thought it took me 3 seconds to thought about it. Nah. The first time I seen you know what I'm saying? I already was on that process. It's already planning, or it's already at the escape route, the fort, the signs that make you think we cool. You know what I'm saying? From the back door exit. I already had all that set up. By the time you left in the haunted house, you don't know which way to go and stuff. Because I told you I'm gonna be in the living room. So you just had in your mind this energy. This what me and Scorpios got in common. You had in your mind that this can always be in the living room. You had that in your mind. You know what I'm saying? He about to be doing a cartwheel in the living room. You had that in your mind. I know it. Like I knew it. I set it up for weeks. So I was like, they gonna know. Look, this side gonna be like going to the living room. We doing a cartwheel right now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, she going to haunted house. That's it. That's it. You don't even want in there. You don't even want in there. And you're going to learn when the bridge is burnt how to swim your goddamn self. And God going to teach you independence that day. I said God going to teach you how to be somewhere to think about yourself that day. Cold. Mars is cold. Mars signs is cold. Everybody else be goofy because y'all be lit off the validation y'all getting. So y'all be like, how me get this validation? And then once y'all get it good, y'all see a foolish person who willing to give it in areas that they ain't valuing themselves, and then go hard on it. And then y'all start thinking, I'm intelligent. I'm just no, you ain't. You going to hell. Oh, ain't got nothing to do with no intelligence. You know what I'm saying? You're like you a user. You take advantage. You're a nasty, poisonous spirit. Oh, better than that. But yeah, it was peak game. So, reality, right? Things that are bad spiritually could appear to be good. We don't need no incense. No blunt incense. You know what I'm saying? Could appear to be good, right? When it comes to your biases, turn habits in reality, which ultimately leads to you just deciding that things go your way. When things go your way, you did something right without further thought process outside of yourself or whatever you was a part of that catered to your bias. Then when something don't go your way, you spiritually take it harder than others unknowingly, right? And you come up with like a concept thinking that you didn't do something right, but really your bias just didn't get met, and you confused it with thinking you're going to do actions to do something right again, when really something didn't go right because of your intentions. And the universe and how nature play out, it resists something going in the opposite direction. And your mind is the first body that your spirit soul is in. And that's the very thing that's going in the opposite direction, self-inflicted wise. And why you experiencing unforced opposites and trial and tribulations in your life. Unforced. We all are able to even know, even when you don't know, you blaming others or you playing victim or guilt tripping, you still know little parts you put in, and something was on a natural course. It just went opposite in your direction and you ain't get your bias or something, whatever the case. And you know situations are forced once you get into this area also. You know what's unforced and what's forced. When something is forced, it's someone else doing negative will. When something is unforced, it's based upon your own lessons or negative will, or own experiences you have to learn because you ain't know no better. If it's forced in this area, it's others manipulating, and you're maybe unaware to it, or whatever the case may be, right? And when you figure this out, you can see clearly anything forced and disingenuous actions, which nature will give you the representations it takes to reject it also, aka fight fire with fire and be justified in all realities. Now, when a soul eat too many bad fruits, right, that they become spiritually sick, aka their first body, which is your mental body, either become crippled or undealable with oneself, or lost, because they go two routes. So I want y'all to listen. When the soul eat too many bad fruits, right? That means they space was in too many areas, developing their own and taking from others ideas that maybe at start, right, there's getting their monetary gains or whatever the case may be, but we all know better spiritually, so we don't have to get into detail with that when it comes to each person's personal life, so be aware. But when the soul eat too many bad fruits, right, the spirit becomes spiritually sick, aka, and this is what y'all not taking seriously. You could be running around with a spiritual sick thing, but it ain't a bunch of people to give this importance for you to be like, oh, I'm sick, and to really understand that. You see what I'm saying? But your first body, which is your mental body, either become crippled and undealable with oneself, or lost and in search to feed for things and substance it lacks off others to rebuild their own inner security system to be sane. This is a sick person. Both sides, both sides of the same coin. Both need others to drink from, aka whether it's attention, but the spirit eat thought. That's where it play out first. A person could be fed off of just the thought of thinking someone else is thinking about them, that's directed in an area that's catering to their bias or something like that. So y'all need to know how powerful this is. It's playing out in real life as substance and stuff. Be careful what you're adding on to. Know what to separate from. It's deep. I'm saying this is what energy is. You could be guilty by association and got a bad vibe, aura, ghosts, thought forms, other spirits trying to be born if you have sex, and just those thought forms added on to your thought form that play out ultimately as events that you're around other spirits in that same space that cause trial and tribulation in your life and stuff like that. That's a real thing. How you think you here? So this is a sick person. Both sides of the same coin need others to drink from via attention, but one would be in a position of, this is how you see it. One would be in a position of taking energy, aka attention, and the other one would be more prone to giving energy, aka attention. Here's where you get those gaslighters or people butter you up. Sometimes a lot of Pisces do this at times unknowingly. They do this with their family members, friends, and associates, and then they get spotted out to be liars. You got to be careful. But all zodiac signs got that, but they just do it in their own way. But just spiritual thing, anybody, right? When it comes to a person who's sick, but in the physical world, if you ain't spiritually inclined, this person normal, this person running around, they probably more healthy than you and stuff like that. But you know what kind of connection you share with this person and y'all relationship, and you know who's putting more on the spiritual table or not, and who's taking advantage of certain things or whatever the case may be to rob you from your peace. So for the most part, both sides of the same coin. Both need others to drink from via attention, but one will be in a position of taking energy, aka attention, and the other one will be more prone to giving energy, aka attention, to set up a hidden trap to feed off someone by being a fake friend, or to get things that favor their bias, that's very indifferent to any connection that you have with them. So that'd be like your home, let's say y'all make music, your homeboy or homegirl always trying to be in the studio and get your networks and get your connections for something that they got going on that's very indifferent to the connection they got with you. And if they could take your spot, they would, or whatever the case may be. And you would slowly but shortly start to see that little pattern or whatever. And if you don't go ahead and get out of that loss, oh, but homegirl or homie helped me not get jumped in high school or whatever, or that was my next door neighbor. If you don't get out of all that fogginess, you don't know that was a person buttering you up. That's a sick person, other than a person who's sick and then they just undealable. You already know you got those friends, family, associates, or co-workers or colleagues or people in your expertise or stuff like that, that they got their own problems, and sometimes you gotta leave them alone, or being around them, something always happening that's flunked out or whatever the case, some old seasoned bean face thingy that's going on or whatever. Then you got those people that they're trying to act just like you and butter you up, but you still feel that same energy after you was around somebody crazy. It's just coming at you in a different way. So you might get confused or rocked to sleep until you realize they didn't have something to do with, if you're in the music business, you get rocked to sleep with your contract or something like that. But that whole time, that was the manager that made you think that they was more of your family than your actual family or something. You see what I'm saying? It get deep. But be careful. They come in two ways. They devils. They devils without knowing it. And what they have been taught by human social norms and Walt Disney, what the devil is not that. And others that made books and movies about it to help them make money or something like that. So it has other outlooks that has nothing to do with what we all doing spiritually. So we got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? We use the same words, different meanings and experiences, and is it attached and relatable and sync with reality or not is a total different conversation. You know what I'm saying? Total different conversation. And we know this all the time. That's why we come up with slang and stuff like that. And if you stay around a bunch of other people, we understand each other by just saying certain sounds at times. And know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Or however. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from. That's spiritual language or whatever. That be trying to burst through whatever constructed thing we created from the mind that became a physical representation that we're doing, almost to understanding when we connected with language and shit. It just, we still create ebonics or whatever because our spirit is witnessing the first events before it comes down into the mental and the physical. And we're all there first. You just have to make sure you get back in order. Right? So like I said, one will be in the position of taking energy, aka attention, and the other one will be more prone to giving energy, aka attention, to set up a hidden trap to feed off someone by being a fake friend, to get things that favor their own biases, indifferent to any connection to you, as you being a victim to their mental stupid stuff, right? So the one who can't handle their own mental needs, right? They're to spot them, that'll be the people that constantly need validation that you're around. And you start to feel your energy being drained from that in the spiritual world. Your goal getting took from them. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to use that to get boosted up by people, right? And stuff like that. And then when it's time for you, when you feel drained, however they drained you, you're going to witness that same situation or similar situation that they had, but they took it from you as a shield and sword, and you're going to be on your own. And let's say it's a situation that got something to do with validation. It's going to be a situation where it just so happened it might be justified where you need it for a little bit of strength. Ain't going to be nobody around. And the way the situation play out is the way you built up that relationship with the taker is set up for them not to even be in that situation for that. So now you're going to be looking for it and not even know that that's a person you got to get it from. Because when you built it up, you might have been lost in one of your filter systems being out of order in life of how. So the bias and everything other portions that come from the spiritual world to make something be one thing, the multiple things, you might have got lost more into those things. So the small pieces that build up to what was taken is not apparent to you. It's not a main focus. So it'll be a situation where even that person who's supposed to give you back that validation, you ain't even seeing it that way. And then this fucking esoteric parasite could be attached to you for 5 years of your life, 10 years of your life, 20 years of your life, no matter if they your family or not. They everywhere. Family, friends, associates, co-workers, corporations, they everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Classmates, they everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Devils is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You better understand. You better believe it. You better believe it. So, for the most, and it's tricky, because it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. So the genuine people in your life have no choice but to do the same thing. So you got to be spiritually inclined to yourself before you lash out or have somebody make a mistake, but they still ain't in that world and you don't know how to give grace or whatever the case may be. You got to be spiritually inclined because the whole ship can fail if you're not spiritually inclined and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Just like it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. We all got to use a brain. So that's all of us doing the same thing. But how we do it and things of that nature, you got to know how to separate it. And sometimes we still, two people using a brain could look like they're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, you get all confused or whatever the case may be. But how they use their brain, how they use their mind, it'll make the ship fail or whatever. So you got to be real spiritually inclined. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have genuine people out there, but you got to have so much baggage, so much resentment. It pour over into relationships that could have been cold, friendships that could have been good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the one who can't handle their own mental needs constant validation about something internally. And the one that's in search to feed, but cover up their insecurities or true colors, that'll be the person that butter you up or gaslight, right? They're in a position of how you spot them. How you spot the one that's unstable? That'd be the person that's drinking you that just constantly need validation about stuff and things of that nature. The other one that's coming in a more demonic way of buttering you up and stuff like that, they still in the same position as that other person, but they might, based upon their living conditions, other people, how they cover it up, their ego, it come in a different way. They might got physical representations like either nepotism, good job, or it's things that they can hide it, so the percentage scale of it don't allow it to play out like a person who can't deal with the mind. Yet still, without those external representations, they'll still be in the same position of not being able to deal with the mind, like the other side of the same coin or whatever the case may be. And it just so happened in a lot of these cases, the physical object with this person could be you as the friend, you as the family, you as the associate, you as the coworker. Yeah, you a whole possession in their mind. Where you think you going to work for Christmas presents. They going to work spiritually in the mind, and you one of their presents that they trying to stick right up under their Christmas tree and make sure you don't go nowhere. So the one that's in search, they're more devilish than the one might have a little bit more grace. They're retarded, you smack them upside their spiritual head a few times. You know what I'm saying? But the one that's in the buttering up energy, you got fool. So the one that's in search to feed but cover up their insecurities or true colors and gaslight needs to keep you in a state and vibration they think you see them in, so they could continue to secretly take your connections, take your energy, and gain attention or notoriety off of you to do things with it that has nothing to do with you or helpful to you. That's like that friend, not the one that's mentally unstable. You be like, I ain't taking you to the studio, man, till you get yourself together. You drinking my energy. Why do I got to remind you could sing? Why I got to remind you could rap? Then you got the one that butter you up. Yeah, you the best rapper. Yeah, just make sure, yeah, you the best singer, girl. Yeah, make sure I'm with you or whatever the case may be. I can sing too. Then they're in the studio with you. So they need to make sure you see them in that light, so they can come up in their mind that you see them in that light, so they can start plotting on you. Yeah, because, yeah, she going to take me to the studio. Yeah, he going to take me to the studio. And when I'm around their manager again or whatever, like that, I'm going to take them to the side or whatever and let them hear this song or it all just like backdoor types. Look, backdoor. All kind of back. You know what I'm saying? They be doing that for that the whole time. You thought they thought they was cool as hell. They ain't had no problem being a water boy. And I said they had no problem being the purse carrier that whole time and stuff like that. Girl, yeah, girl, you want me to stop at the liquor store and stuff like that before you pick me up? Or before, oh, you want me to take you there? I drive. Don't worry about gas. Yeah, they don't say you in your mind thinking like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Getting plotted on. Y'all keep y'all spirits protected out this motherfucker. It's a deep world. It's a negative, evil. It's an evil world. Evil. So in the one, like I said, so in the one that's in search to cover up, in search to feed, to cover up their insecurities or true colors and gaslight needs to keep you in a state and vibration that they can see, that they think you see them in. Oh yeah, they see me as their best friend. And you know what I'm saying? So they can continue to secretly take your connects or gain attention or notoriety off of you to do things with it that has nothing to do with you or even helpful to you. And in most cases, to destroy you or sabotage you once your enemies think this is the most intelligent or sufficient way to get you. And we see this on high levels in business. So you got to keep that in mind too. So now all of these things are abilities, not sanctions or just a given when it comes to the mind and producing, right? So people will be like, oh, God created everything. No, it's an ability. It's something God did or something did before you. So it's an ability that you got, not it being sanctioned. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are abilities, not sanctions or just a given. So if you're into God, look at it like someone else did that thing before you in the right way or got it right. Not God forcing you or punishing you for anything. Everything is based off your own spiritual responsibility. But you got plenty examples. All the way to going to hell. That ain't got something to do, like someone who trying to tell you there's a God that's going to take you to hell is that person trying to use that to have authority over you. But that person ultimately going to go to hell because they shouldn't be in a position to have to do that. There's other ways to go about stuff. So who even told you to take that position? You put your, whatever you externalize and project, you're already in that world doing it. So once your flesh leave, your awareness is still there. That's what you only gonna be able to do it with yourself, your mind though. You know what I'm saying? You might be in a space spirits don't be in that connect with teamwork makes the dream work to be born again. And that's when you get ready to evaporate and just be out of existence. Hell. But for an example, if I planted a seed and it grew a fruit, then you became into existence, or you was born after me. I'm not around you to tell you or force you or punish you for you not knowing you have to plant a seed to grow a fruit. But once you find out this, it shows you that you was thinking just like me in a similar situation. So heaven and hell, or being lost or not, is your own doing. But one thing for certain, we all doing the same thing, just in our own way. But the mechanism of it is fixed. See what I'm saying? So there's some people who never know that you're supposed to plant the seed to grow the fruit, because there's so many other people planting seeds, growing fruit. They can just walk amongst a bunch of trees and start to pluck. But eventually that person is in a spiritual space of a taker already. Now, depending on the degree and the percentage scale, that's going to be how long they be in hell to be able to expand out of their mind once they flesh expire. And they created a mind that's hard to expire, because they all that ego or thought or things supposed to be this way become hardened in the spiritual world. Then that's them being in their own space, but in their own mental physical mind that separate them, their own little sun pocket. Then they're gonna go into the teamwork makes the dream work, son, burn in hell and stuff like that. Then want to shut off those thoughts, and the more you challenge to shut off those thoughts, you shut off your existence, and you'll no thing become nothing. Then you're just nothing. And how long that take, it could be forever for certain people's existences. Like in dog years, 3 years could be the concept of how a human think when they live 90 to 100 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like different aspects, but we all share this existence, just different worlds. Minds. That's the world, but we in the same existence. The existence ain't the world. The existence is something we're producing and sharing worlds, and that become what we think within the existence, which y'all be trying to get suit to go towards your bias, where you get wrong at and get lose. But once you find out this shows you that, like I said, if I planted a seed and grew a fruit, but you came in existence and you was born after me, I'm not around you to tell you or force you or punish you for not knowing you have to plant a seed to grow a fruit. But once you find out this what you need to do, this shows you was thinking like me, even if you don't even know I exist, right? But it was there. So obviously something did that before you, or whatever. Your imagination or internal vision of each mechanism of life is based on just your comprehension or whatever. But that goes broad on seeing what was substantiated, what was an experience, and what was done or what may have to be done to get it right. That goes beyond your biases and a person lifting something up and saying, hey, if we lift a rock and put it here, we can build a house. It goes beyond that. See what I'm saying? So when you understand it from that aspect, once you find that out, this shows you did something similar in a situation, and the situation was similar. So heaven, hell, or being lost or not is your own doing. But one thing is for certain. We all doing the same thing, just in our own way. But the mechanism is fixed, which means you have similar abilities that has to be used a certain way towards the mechanism of its process. It don't matter what kind of creature you is. If you in water, you got to swim. So there's a certain mechanism to floating on the water if you a species or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't matter what world you in, mind, what speciation you condense from it as blood and it becomes organs from that mind, right? The mechanism is fixed. When you on water, you have to do this. So whether you got that ability or not, that's your own responsibility. See what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with the punishment, going to hell, all these concepts is things we create on our own. But we got the ability. So something did that before you. Humans created hell to go to. God ain't had nothing to do with that. You see what I'm saying? Oh, God ain't got nothing to do with that. That's the thing, shiny. Things ain't got nothing, but it's ability we all got. God don't go to hell. You know what I'm saying? A human had to create that concept to get trapped. So hell is this you being trapped in your mind. As a spirit, we create the mind create the body, and the body created the physical world. When you live out of order, you use your spirit to do things. I mean, you use your mind for things that your spirit's supposed to be creating the mind with, and you use your mind for the body, and use your body to suggest things. So now you start to get in reverse. Now it becomes your mind start to think it's doing the exact thing of the thing it created, the physical. And then once the physical expire, you might have developed so much of a mental wound, it might have a hard, it's lighter. So when the body expire, the mind body you created is mimicking everything you created the mind to do with the body. And since you ain't got no body no more and you're in your mind, you're going to be lost in your imagination. And that's what hell is. And the thing it's attached to is the thing it created. So you could be in a hell where you're trapped in your body, the mind that created those organs and can't make them life again, can't produce no more blood fluid. So you're just lost in producing thoughts, imaginations, feelings, stuff like that. And you can't produce no more air. And you might have separated yourself from a spiritual space from other spirits, so you can't swallow no air. So you're getting ready to suffocate because air is created from thought. And then once you got a collection of thoughts, it become feeling, emotion, and then emotion become adrenaline, and adrenaline become blood. And that's how, and then blood become tissue and organ. And then it become bone and bone marrow. So this is how we're creating and stuff. This is how we're creating bacteria and stuff like that. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. You see what I'm saying? This is a real process. When you start to lack thought and feeling, you lack motivation. But motivation is a term for something that's happening as a transition, not a separation from mental and physical. You lack blood movement. So the idea and the actions follow. So you don't feel like doing nothing today. You see what I'm saying? But then spiritually, if you're in a different space as your soul and you emanate a thought and idea that you like, then it bend in and become adrenaline and it becomes something you're motivated to do. But literally you produce the blood to do it. The blood, your eyeballs and everything is blood. You're seeing, visualizing what you created once it condensed. And since we all doing something similar, we have our own perception of something that we can see each as an individual. See what I'm saying? So if I got a mind, you got a mind, we all can see the one mind, the sun. See what I'm saying? So that's just all of our minds together. So that's why it's hot. So if you start to think about something too much, you develop a lot of DNA, a lot of vitamin D, a lot of you getting up and going to do something. If you don't think a lot, you ain't getting hot, you get weak, and now you deficient in all kind of vitamins. Because you ain't produce it yourself. It ain't about being in the sun. You are the sun already, but you ain't doing what the sun do. So you out of order. So you're not continuously to produce. So you start to deteriorate before you even going with your seasonal travels yourself, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Get older faster, all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this aging, it got something to do with reality and how to reverse age. Not, I'm about to meditate over some candles. Y'all retarded. This is you got to put action. What they call that? You got to practice what you preach, and you can't have faith without works. So if you a person running around talk about you can have faith without works, whatever you got faith in ain't something that work. It's just something in your imagination, or whatever the case may be. You need to start having faith in things that works, or whatever, or you just gonna be lost in the sauce, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So if you just got faith without no works, you doing something that don't work. You know what I'm saying? You something wrong with your diet already, something wrong with your productivity already, some, you know what I'm saying? You just some lazy spirit, bitch. But for the most part, like I said, so which means you have similar abilities that has to be used a certain way towards the mechanism of its process, planting the seed for the fruit to grow. So God will not save you. You have to save or take responsibility. Pardon me, y'all. Pardon me. I had to do that for a minute, but I was trying to hold it in ever since I was moving my nose. So God will not save you. You have to save or take responsibility for yourself, or accountability for what you got lost in to start to produce that saving for yourself. But one thing is, if you're open enough to see it the spiritual way, God already laid the example on the right way to do it. AKA, you will also realize planting the seed make the fruit grow to survive in the spiritual, mental, and physical. The example itself is the help, AKA natural nature. The nature of something shows you the natural direction of something. And you're supposed to know the concept goes beyond the physical. If the very thing you're using to decipher it is not physical, you can't touch it, lift it, or weigh it. Yet it's the first thing you use, AKA your mind. So to understand mental things, you need mental correspondences based on intent. not necessarily physical representations, because the physical representation come from this space first. So y'all have to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have to understand that. I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, beep, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry God duties and responsibilities and more than that. Rector Swat, he'll hold that yellow hoop. Massasoit, Mama Natoid. Woo, Masasaki, Masasaki.